Hello everyone, welcome back to Stock Market Meridian. Today is Friday, the 5th of June 2026, and you're watching today's pre-market report. Let's start with the global markets. Last night, we saw a mixed bag of sentiment over in the US markets. The Dow Jones opened with a gap up and rallied to close up 1.7%. However, the tech-heavy Nasdaq opened with a gap down and struggled, closing down below 0.5%. While the S&P 500 managed at a 0.4% gains after a weak start. Over in Europe markets opened flat but saw a steady buying through the day to close deep in the green. But Asian markets, the sentiment shift to the negative side. Japan index opened lower and closed at negative 1.3%. Chinese markets opened flat and ended down 0.7%. With the South Korea and Taiwan, indices are struggling in the red. Close to home, the Gift Nifty opened flat but is currently trading with a slight negative bias. So looking at the big picture, outside of the Europe, global sentiment is looking heavily cautious this morning. Moving over to the commodities market, there is some major relief on the energy front. Oil prices cooled off significantly yesterday, with both Brent and crude oil slipping below $95 per barrel. Consequently, Indian crude oil futures closed down below 4.3%. Through Indian natural gas futures has the trend positive side, closing up above 3.8%. Meanwhile, safe haven assets are seeing demand ahead of global economic data. Gold futures closed up above 0.65% and silver futures gained 0.7%. Next up, let's look at how Indian companies performed overnight via their US ADRs. On the losing side, SS Innovations was the top loser with the closing of nearly negative 11%. Wipro, Athra Online, Reliance Industries ADRs are also closed in negative territory. And in the positive side, the top gainer was Zoomcar Holding with the closing level of above 60%. Along with that, SIFI, Rhodes and ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Make My Trip, Dr. Reddy's Labs, and Infosys ADS are also closed at positive side. The key takeaway here is we are seeing a very strong positive sentiment in banking sector, but a highly mixed bag in IT sector. Now let's move to the institutional investors data. FIs were heavy seller, dumping 4,447 crores, while DI stepped into the absorb the shock, buying 4,360 crores. If we break down the derivatives and cash positions, FIs are strongly bearish on index futures and index options, medium bearish on stocks, but surprisingly medium bullish on stock futures. DIs are strongly bearish on stock futures, but medium bullish on stocks and index futures, while remaining neutral on options. Meanwhile, retail clients are heavily loaded on the long side, showing strong bullish in stock futures and index options. Turning to the economic calendar, macro data is coming in thick and fast. Yesterday, the US initial jobless claims data dropped and it came in weaker than expected. 225,000 people filed for unemployment benefit, which is an increase of 13,000 claims compared to the previous period, signaling a cooling US labor market. But today is the big one for India. The RBI governor will be live to announce the central bank crucial interest rate decisions. This will trigger massive volatile across banking and rate sensitive stocks. So keep your eyes glued to the screen. And later this evening, we will get the India's Q4 GDP data, India's foreign exchange reserve data, alongside critical US macro data including average hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, and the US unemployment data. Tomorrow, there is no such important events. Now, let's dive into the critical news headlines and stock-specific updates that could drive individual stock movement today. First, a major macro update regarding US-India trade relations. Donald Trump recently stated that the US will reach a trade deal with India, remarking that India took a advantage of the US for years. The two nations still share a great relationship. However, former US Trade Representative official Mark Linscott has issued a stern warning. India need to lock in an interim trade deal by July 24th. The US is restructuring its tariff rules, and if India fails to sign before the deadline, India goods could face much higher tariffs, putting them at a severe competitive disadvantage against rival manufacturing nations. Next, a massive move in the fintech space. Global investment giant Goldman Sachs just executed a massive block deal worth 210 crores to buy a stake in Billion Brains Garage Ventures. The parent company behind the stock investing app Grow. They picked up over 1 crore 13 lakh shares from an existing investor trial funds at 185.50 rupees per share, while it's just 0.18% of the total equity. Goldman's entry is a massive vote for confidence of India's fintech. The excellent news for aviation stocks like Indigo and SpiceJet. The Indian government has officially fixed the aviation turbine fuel ATF benchmark at 86.32 rupees per liter under its brand new price stabilization scheme. Now, once you add local taxes and airport charges, the final selling price in Delhi will sit around 115 rupees per liter. Since fuel makes up nearly 40% of an airline's operating cost, this scheme is a massive caution to protect airlines from wild global oil shocks. Moving to global operations, Tata Steel is in the news. A sudden fire broke out late Wednesday night at Tata Steel's massive Port Talbot plant in the UK. Thankfully, all staff members were safely evacuated with the zero injuries. Management has clarified that the blaze is completely unrelated to the ongoing multi-billion-dollar transition to eco-friendly electric arc furnace. So, operation could not see for the prolonged disruption. In the banking space, SEBI has pulled up ICICI Bank. The market regulatory has issued an official warning letter to ICICI Bank over a foreign portfolio investment violation. SEBI found that ICICI Bank allowed a mega foreign investor to break their lock-in commitment and pull their money out of the country early under the voluntary retention rule. VRR scheme. Watch out for some pressure on the stock today. Before we get into the next set of stocks, if you are finding this breakdown helpful, please hit the like button. I upload pre-market report every single morning before the opening bell and post-market report right after the close. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. Let's look at Pharma next. Aurobindo Pharma gets a massive US green light. Aurobindo Pharma has officially secured final US FDA approval to manufacture and market afoxetinib tablets in 5 mg and 10 mg strength, launching it immediately in the US. This is huge because it's the generic version of Pfizer's blockbuster drug Xeljanz, which targets an annual US market size of $494 million. This drug is highly potent and treats several autoimmune conditions like swelling, joint pains, skin-related issues, and more several issues like in large intestine, digestive tract. Expect positive traction here. In the mutual fund space, HDFC Mutual Fund makes a defensive move. HDFC Mutual Fund has announced a temporary freeze on massive lump sum investment into its popular gold ETFs and gold fund to funds to protect investors from high volatile market conditions. They are blocking direct gold ETF subscriptions of 25 crores or more and capping gold fund to fund lump sum purchases at just 10 lakhs rupees per month. Next, quick dividend alert. The board of INDUCE Group Solutions has officially recommended a final dividend of rupees 5 per equity share for financial year 2026. That represents a massive 50% payout of on its face value, which will be credited within 30 days of upcoming AGM approval. On the capital goods front, keep an eye on CG Power. CG Power has officially inaugurated its brand new extra high voltage switchgear manufacturing facility in Nasik with an investment of 39 crores. This added 7,200 units of annual capacity to aggressively meet the skyrocketing global and domestic demands for heavy electrical grade equipment. In the green energy space, a mega acquisition by Inox Clean Energy. Inox Clean Energy has signed a definitive agreement to completely acquire Vena Energy India's massive 6 gigawatt renewable portfolio. While financial details were not officially disclosed, market sources value the deal at a 6,000 crores, completely solidifying Inox positions as a green energy giant. Finally, public sector bank, Central Bank of India sets an aggressive target. The bank's MD and CEO Kalyan Kumar announced that they expect to recover over 3,500 crores from bad loans NPS non-performing assets in financial year 2027. This aggressive balance sheet cleaning is expected to directly skyrocket the bank's net profit and bottom line over the coming quarters. To wrap things up, let's look at the open interest and delivery data to see where the smart money moved right before closing yesterday. High long build-ups in Asian Paints, Powergrade, SRF, DMart, Nykaa, Colgate, Max Health, Mankind, and Indigo. High short build-ups in VMM, Ultratech Cement, 361, Reliance, Ashok Leyland, L&T Finance, Sona Comstar, Siemens, and ABB India. Additional short build-up seen in Hyundai, Force Motors, BSC, Supreme India, GAIL, Marico, Tech Mahindra, Astral, and Saman Capital. High delivery percentage in SBI Life, Nestle India, 361, Ultratech Cement, Divis Labs, Petronet, Hindustan Unilever, Powergrid, APL Apollo, and ICICI Prudential. And for all derivative traders, there is no stocks in the FNO band today. So those are the critical market moving updates you need to know before the opening bell rings. On this highly volatile RBI policy day, trade safely, manage your risk carefully. And I will see you right back here in the evening for the post market report. Until then, signing off. Bye bye. Jai Hind.